is the price of your arrogance.
This is what a Star Wars game in 2019 should be. From the very first second the game gave me control over Cal, our ginger-headed protagonist, well, to say I was impressed would be an understatement. It goes without saying that I'm going to do my best to avoid spoiler territory here, so I'm going to keep all gameplay and cutscenes to the very first mention of the game as to uphold that. This is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. The Star Wars story I didn't know that I wanted. To start off with the story, which is not the main focus of this video, by the way. Well, I mean, it's definitely a Star Wars story. You are Cal Kessin, a former Jedi Padawan who has gone into hiding following the events of Order 66. It's been 5 years since the Empire turned the clone army against the Jedi of the Republic, and you're trying your best to live a normal life. Well, in order for the game to not be a Star Wars ship repair simulator, things had to take a turn for the worst, and here you are fighting your way through an army of stormtroopers to advance the plot. It's not the most original story they could have written for this, but it works for this narrative, and that's really what matters. I think what's going to be the hook, line, and sinker here is the animation that we see within the game. Fallen Order offers some truly amazing visuals, especially in the cutscenes. Eye tracking, facial capture, and motion capture are all top tier here. The technology is on display, and it is truly remarkable. Everything down to the hairs on Cal's head are damn impressive. For reference, I'm playing in 4K on a PS4 Pro. I can't say how this game looks on high-end rigs or base model systems, but I have no doubt that it's still stunning. The acting here is also pretty damn well done. Cal is believable and acts like I would expect a young man of his age to act. Side characters are well written and well acted. There's honestly, in my opinion, nothing to complain about. But I know I really don't want to spend too much time on the story, even though I know this is a story-based Star Wars game. I really want to get into the meat of this game, though, what I'm most impressed by. And that's going to be the aspect that's going to determine whether or not this game lives or dies. The gameplay. Now I'm going to separate the gameplay into two different sections. Traversal and action, as they're both equally important and equally relevant to this game. Traversal, well, it's really not that impressive. I couldn't help but to compare the mechanics to Uncharted and Tomb Raider, being as those are the leading titles featuring similar mechanics after all. Don't get me wrong though, I don't think traversal here is bad, not at all. It's the actual climbing itself that has me bewildered. It's simple enough, jump at a climbable object and hold a specific button to climb. It certainly can feel stiff at times though. Then a few minutes later, it's as smooth as Luke's face after rubbing that green milk on his acne. It's not consistent at all in its animation, and I believe that's the basis of my issue. The other aspects of traversal, running, jumping, sliding down slopes, it's all ridiculous fun. Movement has weight, jumping has an arcade feel to it that reminds me of Uncharted 3. Aside from the occasional immersion-breaking climbing animation, I think they really nailed it. This almost feels like what 1313 was supposed to be. Now, let's move on to the action. You ever thought about what Sekiro would look like with lightsabers? Well, this is that. This game offers some of my favorite combat mechanics to date. Basic enemies go down with a single flick of your lightsaber. Tougher enemies require you to whittle down their stamina bar before performing a finishing move. A stamina bar which you also have. Block too long or attack too many times without a break, and you might as well have jumped into the Sarlacc pit yourself because you've done entered Pain City. If you need a break to regain stamina, you can always use your force abilities to give yourself some time. But don't be too reliant because there's a meter for that as well. I think my favorite part of the combat is actually deflecting shots back at stormtroopers and watching them fall. I can definitely see the comparison that some people have made to the Souls games in Sekiro. This isn't a hack and slash adventure. Combat requires you to think on your feet at the heat of the moment and decide how to dispatch enemies. They really make you feel as if you're a half-trained Padawan who has to figure the rest of it out for himself and survive. And when you're victorious, you feel like you've actually accomplished something. To round things up, I believe that Jedi Fallen Order is absolutely wonderful. Characters are intriguing, set pieces are wonderful and captivating, and the gameplay is more than I could have hoped for. I went into this game knowing bare minimum. I've only watched the 2 story trailers, none of the gameplay. I wanted to enter this game with no expectations as to not be disappointed if the game didn't meet them. Well, I'm sorry I ever doubted you, Respawn. I think you've given me the Star Wars game that I didn't know I needed. That's going to do it for me today, guys. If you liked this video, make sure to smash like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you want to see more videos like this where I give my opinion on the latest games releasing, make sure to let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time.